Okay, so this is the kind of agenda that we are going to follow today. Um, and we should be done within the hour. We may run over just a couple minutes, but we'll try to be really efficient with time here. So first off, I'd like to introduce the 4 AIA Minnesota staff people who work together to manage this program. So I'm Angie McKinley. I'm the Director of Equity, Youth Outreach and Programs. I've been with AIA Minnesota for 7 years, so this will be my 8th tour. And I'm responsible for overall program management. Anne, do you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Anne Mayhew. I've been with AIA Minnesota for about a year and a half. I'm the Member Programs Public Outreach and Communications Coordinator, and last year was my first tour, and I assist Angie and Sherry Hansen with marketing and publicity, especially the social media and copy for the program and website. And I also assist Angie with architect communications, which we will get more into later.
Great. Pam, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Pam Nelson, and I have been with AIA for the past 8 years. So I've worked on many tours now. And I am the one who works with all of the vendors and project partners and participants who have product in the home or other people who want to align with the tour and sponsor. I also sell the advertising in the program book as well.
Great. And Sherry Hansen is our 4th colleague. Sherry was not able to make this meeting today, which she sends her regrets for, but she's the Director of Communications, Advocacy, and Public Outreach. She works with our PR firm to kind of collaborate with them on external communication and marketing for the tour. And you are welcome to keep this slide on hand in case you need to reach any of us at any time. I'll be sharing a PDF document of everything we go through today following the conclusion of the meeting. So as we've all kind of acknowledged, this is going to be an extremely different experience for all of us. We made the decision a few months ago to deliver this tour via a virtual format. It was an incredibly difficult decision for us to make as a staff, and certainly not our preferred format for delivering this event. And I want to acknowledge that it's kind of the best we can do given the circumstances. We are not looking to make this event virtual in future years. We recognize that the face-to-face interaction between architects and tour goers is one of the things that makes this tour so great, and we don't want to replace that or remove that.
Pause. Can I add a comment?
Oh, yes, Kelly.
This is Kelly Wegscheid. Although being from out of the metro area, I am so excited that this is giving people an opportunity to see lake homes or other architect designed homes outside of the metro, because that's something I think, although AIA Minnesota is fantastic and fabulous in all regards, really we pretty much ignore outside of the metro area. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to showcase things in this format. So maybe next year could become a hybrid where 80% of the homes are in person and maybe another couple of them are virtual.
That's a great comment, Kelly. Thanks for chiming in there. Yes, I do think the great opportunity for us this year is to be much more inclusive with the scope and range of projects that we're showcasing, as well as allowing additional members to participate who previously could not. And I do think there's a possibility that a virtual aspect of the tour could be added and would significantly enrich the tour goer experience. So we're not going to discount that for next year. But I do want to just acknowledge that this is not the what we expected to have happen this year. So
perfect. And then one last thing, sorry to interject, but you said too also that part of the tour experience is getting the architect's feedback. And would there be a way coming up, and maybe you'll address that while the tickets and the people are going through the tour, that we couldn't be on a Zoom format where people could log into our Zoom chat room and still ask the architect questions?
Yeah, we're currently kind of looking at different possibilities, and we will touch on this in a bit, but we're looking at different possibilities for kind of facilitating that face-to-face interaction, whether it is through kind of scheduled hours where the design team would be available for tour goers as they're virtually touring the home, where they could have a conversation with the architect or ask questions, or whether it's a virtual panel event featuring the architects and design teams and potentially even clients. We are currently looking at all those options, and I think it's something that we would like to facilitate if we have the opportunity. So the virtual tour format for 2020, we anticipate looking somewhat like what's described on the slide in front of you. We will be working with Spacecrafting, which is a local architecture photography company. They have the technology to be able to capture footage of a home and turn that into a kind of a 3D tour experience. And when I send out the slides from this meeting, I can certainly include a link to an example of one of their virtual tours so that you can get a feel for it from the viewer perspective. Each project will also have a dedicated page on our tour website, which is homesbyarchitects.org. And for your project page, it will include kind of a header feature image, as well as a slideshow if you have multiple photographs that you'd like us to use. We will include the project description, project details, like whether it's new construction or remodel, list of sponsors who are involved in your project, as well as a link to the virtual tour content. And that link won't be live until September 26th, when the tour begins, so to speak. And then, as Kelly just commented, we are looking at the possibilities of hosting some in-person or virtual events to facilitate that engagement. We're also looking at possibly creating some audio or video of the design team discussing the project that would accompany the virtual 3D tour. So the tour timeline looks a little bit like this. We are going to be scheduling the spacecrafting visits for each project. That's begun already, and we hope to be able to do that quickly so that everybody has adequate time to do staging or whatever is necessary to prepare the home for the visit. And those visits will take about 4 hours. The technician will come in with the 3D Matterport camera and capture the interior and exterior of the home. I'll talk more about that later. We'll also begin working on our tour program in the month of July. Typically, we offer that as a printed document that is sent to all ticket holders or given out to all ticket holders during the tour. Because of the virtual nature of the tour this year, we'll be just publishing that in digital format. That's anticipated to be available on the same date when tickets go on sale, which is, we're looking at August 10th for that date, for tickets to begin being available on our website. And then during that entire time, we'll be working on sponsorship recruitment. And again, we'll talk more about sponsorship recruitment later, a little bit later. So this is what our digital or our tour program looked like last year. This was the cover from the 2019 event. For some of you who have been part of the tour for many years or many years ago, something different that you may not be aware of is that previously we worked with Green Spring Media, who publishes Minnesota Monthly and Midwest Home Magazine, to produce our tour program. Last year, we decided to take that in-house, and we produced our own tour program, which allowed us to have much greater control over the content and the look of the publication. And we were able to turn this into kind of a takeaway resource for the people who were attending the tour. We not only had a dedicated page for each project, but we included a lot of supplemental content that could serve as a resource for the public who may be in the market for an architect or doing a future home building or remodeling project. And then we also include a sponsor directory in that document as well. So a little bit more about the space crafting aspect and the 3D scan. We will schedule each project's visit in consultation with the owner and the homeowners to make sure that the visit is during a time when the homeowners are comfortable having someone come into their home, allowing for time for staging to occur if necessary. Spacecrafting has shared with us a document that can be given to your clients that has a list of kind of, a checklist of things that they can do to prepare for the visit in terms of, putting away toothbrushes and shampoo bottles and things like that. The entire visit should take about 4 hours, and it's not necessary for a family to be to vacate the home during the visit, but the photographer will need to have the floor on which he or she is filming to be free of people. So if there's room for the family to kind of be on a different level of the house, that works as well. The exterior and the interior will be scanned, and the image that you see on the screen is what they call a dollhouse view. It's just kind of a 3D composite of the home. And in order to produce that dollhouse view, the entire interior must be captured, even if it's not all going to be on view for the virtual tour. And then following the capture of the entire interior, spacecrafting can work with the clients to turn off any sections or rooms or segments of the home that the client does not want to be on display for the virtual tour. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Pam so she can go a little bit more in depth about our sponsorship and advertising programs.
Sure. So like in previous years, we reach out to all of the vendors that are a part of your homes. So if anything changes or updates, please send me contact information just so we make sure we have the right fireplace vendor or window vendor, because I know things sometimes change from when you originally submitted. We reach out to all of those partners and offer them the opportunity to sponsor and align with the home that they have product featured in. So we have 3 tiers of sponsorship. We have a gold sponsor, which is sort of an overall sponsor and gets the most exposure. They don't necessarily have to be a part of the homes if they just happen to not be this year, but they want to align with a high-end tour. This gives them the opportunity. Same with the silver level. They may or may not be a part of homes, but again, they may want to align with the tour, and we have a variety of kind of a package of benefits that we're offering them for exposure. The last tier is the home sponsor tier, and that's specifically for a vendor that does have a product in a specific home. So they can identify their product within the home. The spacecrafting has this Matterport tag. So as people are touring through the home, if they have the fireplace, there could be a little dot on the fireplace where if people click on it, they're able to showcase their brand, their company name, their website, and connect that way. So again, with each package, there's a different variety of bells and whistles and ways to align. And we're hoping that as many of the vendors will participate as possible. So please encourage them to do so. This is the only way that they're going to get exposure, other than just maybe being in the photograph unidentified. So we will try our best to give them as much exposure as possible within these 3 tiers. Again, feel free to push them my way. You don't have to sell anything. You just need to direct them to me, and I'm happy to sort of take it over from there. We don't allow any vendors, any presence who haven't paid to be a part of this tour. So nobody gets in for free. But the vendors that have participated in the past seem to really value this tour, and I know that they'll be interested. And so we'll take it from there. The last piece that we can offer them is an ad in the tour program, which I think is the next slide.
I don't have
The
a
gold
picture
and
of that, I'm
silver.
sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So the gold and silver sponsorship levels include an ad. The home sponsor does not. So whether they're a sponsor or not, we'll allow anybody to advertise in the tour program. So that's an option for somebody who's not participating but wants to align, or if they are, it's extra way for them to get exposure. In regards to the firms, participating firms, of course, you'll all get your full page showcasing your tour home and with content, with images and so forth. But many times in the past, we've also had firms who want to have a sort of a generic ad for their firm as well. We can either place it adjacent to your sponsor, to your homepage, or we could put it somewhere else in the program. So if you have an interest in advertising, let me know.
Thanks, Pam. I'll cover this aspect of the tour on behalf of Sherry. So we partner with PR firm Niemer Fieger. They have been our PR firm since the inception of the tour. So they've been with us for 13 years and they know this tour inside and out. So they're a really great partner and ally for us. So they manage all of the print and digital advertising that we purchase. And we purchase that in a variety of places. We'll be featured in Minneapolis St. Paul Magazine, Architecture Minnesota, Star Tribune. You will probably see us digitally online. And then they also pitch our event to local news outlets and other publications. And so we tend to get a lot of earned media from their work as well. So typically we're featured in all of the major newspapers, the Southwest Journal, Pioneer Press, a lot of the community newspapers or magazines pick up our story and will run a feature on a project that's in their community. And then a few weeks before the tour begins, we typically have some spots on television news as well. So a lot of the morning news programs will ask us to come on and speak about the tour in order to promote it. And that typically, as I mentioned, takes place 1 or 2 weeks prior to the event. So we anticipate that that will be kind of the same thing this year. Niemer Fieger has already started working and buying up ad spaces for us. So we're very pleased with the efforts that they put out there on our behalf. And Anne, I'll turn it over to you for social media.
So Niemer Fieger takes care of any paid social media posts that you may see. So those are paid promoted posts. But Sherry Hansen and I both work on our our own social media free campaigns, just our own posts that we put up. Last year, we started an Instagram account at the request of the architects, and it's been very successful, having just recently been started. As you can see, it is, creeping up on our Facebook account followers. So we will craft social media posts based on the information that you have already sent us in your application. But I also encourage you to feel free to send me directly any additional photographs, especially for Instagram being a very visual platform. Send us any more additional photographs or copy, in progress photos or drawings, photos of your team, just anything to kind of give that behind the scenes look at the tour. Yeah.
Thanks, Anne. And do you want to share a little bit about what we started last year in terms of communication with architects?
Sure. Yeah. So I am also, as I mentioned in my introduction, helping Angie with general communications to the architects. We started sending out a monthly email at the beginning of each month, and we will start next week in July, with just general information on things that still have to get done, upcoming deadlines, any news stories that came out. So you'll be receiving those emails in addition to any more time-sensitive emails that may come out from either me or Angie. I'm also the person to contact if you have a question and you're not sure who exactly to send it to. You are welcome to send that to me, and I can triage as necessary and send it along to Angie, Pam, or Sherry, or answer it myself. So I'm kind of your default person for questions.
Thank you, Anne. Before we open things up for questions, I do want to just visit the topic of photography, because I know that's a tricky one, and many of you have had questions about the deadlines around providing photography of your project. Unfortunately, we don't have one hard and fast deadline. Rather, there are kind of several points along the upcoming months where we could really use photography. As I mentioned, our PR firm is already reserving ad spaces and digital ad spaces. And so we utilize tour photography of the projects in all of our print and digital advertising. So as you have photographs that are print ready, please share them with me as soon as possible. And we typically just use what we have. So if you get your photos in early, they'll get used. We will also be building the tour website in the next few weeks, so that should go live shortly. And you all provided a promotional image with your submission. We will use that for the header image on your project page, but we do also like to feature additional photos when available in a slideshow format. So again, if you have those, you can send us those at any time, and we are just constantly updating the website with any new imagery that we receive. In August, yeah, Kelly.
So the photos that we already submitted with our application, are you saying that we need to resubmit those in a different format, or do you already have access to those and we don't need to resubmit those?
I do have access to anything that you submitted to me in the submission process. Sometimes folks have need to reduce the size of those images in order to get them uploaded into our AwardForce platform. And so if that's the case and you have larger file sizes that you can share with us, the larger the better for purposes of print advertising. And I can usually look at the photos and determine whether they are the appropriate file size. So that's something that I'll be doing as we start building out the website, is just evaluating all of the professional photos that have been submitted. We also, try to be careful about not assuming that we can use anything that you send us in the submission, because we just want to make sure that, you know, you've communicated with the photographer in terms of usage and things like that. So we always err on the side of caution before we will use a particular photos that you've submitted during your application process. So for those of you who do not have print ready photography yet, we will take that print ready photography at any time up until the tour. In August, we will publish the tour program. And again, if you have a print ready photo for us to use in that publication, we always prefer that. But if you don't have photos yet, we will use the rendering or whatever promotional image you identified in your application. And as I said, we can swap out photos and renderings on the website in a snap of a finger. So that's something that is very flexible and adaptable, and we can always change those at any time. And just a note of clarification, while Spacecrafting is doing the work of scanning your project for the 3D virtual tour, they will not be taking any still photography of your project. So while they do offer that service, and you're welcome to reach out to them about using them as your still photographer, you would want to make those arrangements separately. I just want to be clear that no one should assume that their still photography needs are taken care of. And with that, I think let's open it up to questions, and I will stop sharing my screen here.
Angie, I have something. I knew I was forgetting something.
Yeah.
I also just wanted to mention, it may go without saying, but if you share anything on social media, we will be happy to repost it. So be sure to tag us in that, particularly if you are using Instagram stories, you have to tag our actual handle for us to be able to repost that into our stories. But we do have a hashtag, which will be hashtag HBAT13, since it's the 13th year of the tour. And we'll be sending this information out in your email. So if you didn't jot that down just now, that's just fine.
Thank you.
Like if you're at a bar in Wisconsin.
What's that?
Sorry, I didn't hear.
I said you might not be able to jot it down if you're at a bar in Wisconsin right now, or
Yeah.
South Dakota.
Right.
Yeah, South Dakota.
Hey, Anne, could you repeat the hashtag again, please?
Yeah. HBAT13.
Thank you.
Chat too.
And for clarification, is that only reposting photos of the house that's on the tour, or is that anything that we're posting in our social media?
That will be just, just houses on the tour. Things related to the houses on the tour. So, drawings, renderings. During the off season, we have not focused on our Homes by Architects social media quite as much. So I mean, essentially October through June. But eventually I think we do want to do more like Throwback Thursday posts and that kind of thing. So you can keep that in mind for the future. And again, use that hashtag specifically for this year's tour. I do monitor just a general Homes by Architects tour hashtag and those other ones, since people often use multiple hashtags and not only just the official one. And again, if you want to repost, the easiest way for me to see that, and again with stories, I need you to do this, is actually tag our handle in it and not just the hashtag.
And Anne has put the hashtag into our chat box. And if you're trying to access the chat box, it's either going to be at the top or bottom of your Zoom window, and it looks like a little conversation bubble icon. You're welcome to use that chat box feature if you would like to type any questions. Otherwise, feel free to unmute yourself and call out any questions that may have arisen.
I have a question.
Yes, Megan.
Can you summarize this in an email and send it out? Send out how we tag, what this handle business is that we have to put on there, so we can put that out to anybody we might need to.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have all of that information in that July 1st email.
Super. Thank you.
So I'm interested to know, and maybe you said this because I joined a couple minutes late, but how many homes now are going to be featured
Oh, good question.
on the tour this year, and how many are in the metro, and how many are out of state or out of the metro?
So we have a total of 17 projects this year, which is fantastic. It's kind of in the range of what we typically see for projects in a year. Kelly, yours is certainly the furthest afield. We do have a grouping of homes that are kind of in the Grant/Stillwater area. And then I think we've got a couple that are fairly west of the Twin Cities metro.
So that's interesting because the Grant Stillwater area, they don't usually have that many. So I wonder what this year happened that it got more.
Agreed. And it would also be nice to get a Duluth submission from up in that region as well. So I think even in years to come, it would be really great to keep this platform to showcase those out of, the metro area locations, because there are quite a few.
Right. Yep.
So it's interesting. I Kelly, have a lot of projects, and they are out. I have a lot of projects that are typically out of the metro, primarily is where most of our work is. So, but I'm kind of using this year to see how this works. Like, before I submitted any that were really far out, I felt like this was kind of a good test year, because I know how well it works for within the metro projects. So I'm kind of keeping my eye on that metric.
Well, we have any, I know in the normal sessions, they would have a greeter at the door crossing off tickets to know how many people came and viewed each home. Will we have any type of ability to track what the results are after this year for each home? Or will we only have general ticket sales?
We do have access to Google Analytics that tracks that information for each page of our website. So we should be able to gather some significant data about visits to each of the tour project pages. And the nice thing about Google Analytics, if you've never used that resource, is that you can hone into a certain period of time. You can also kind of break down the visits by geographical area. It even breaks it down by, age and gender, which is a little bit scary, but so it can get pretty specific. So I'm looking forward to being able to review and analyze that data after the tour is completed. We do anticipate having the content available for ticket holders for a time period of 2 weeks.
Question on the flexibility of the website or the constant adaptability. If you don't decide to do something with an architecture room or something, so to speak, could we just send a link to a Zoom room and have someone sitting in that room, and if someone goes there, they could just click and join them? And, could we just create our own Zoom room?
That could be a possibility. Yeah. We're kind of working out at this point kind of the technology aspects of how the user flows through the tour. We expect that they will want to view more than one home. So they'll
Right.
need you know, there's going to need to be a path for them to get back and forth. So that's a challenge, but I think we can find solutions to that. So that I
Okay.
would say, you know, provided we could ensure that continuous path for viewers, that's certainly an option.
Okay.
Pam,
So
you're
that's
on mute.
you're gonna work on that at this point. Like I shouldn't. I mean, yeah, I get it. You want them to be able to get back to the tour. So okay.
Yeah.
Pam, you're on mute.
I had a question regarding the ad options, and I might have just missed this, but do you have a ballpark pricing for ads?
We do, and it will be in the packet that you get. They range, you know, from a 6-page to the back cover, so anywhere from $300 to $1,200.
Nice.
And
Mhm.
go ahead.
Oh, thank you. So if we have someone that would like to be a home sponsor for our project, if they choose to do, say, the gold sponsorship, do they also have to pay an $800 to be a specific home sponsor?
No, the very first item under the gold sponsor is that they can align with up to 6 tour homes where if they have product in,
Oh,
so they would
great.
get one matter tag for each up to 6 homes. And if they want to
Nice.
purchase additional tags, they can do so.
Okay.
But at least they'll be recognized in one spot.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And then I was muted, but I was going to say in regards to the individual firms kind of hosting a Zoom conversation, that might be something we can do within the program. Since it'll be digital, we could put some live links and maybe even set specific days or times that could either be during the tour or after the tour. So it doesn't interrupt the flow of the tour, but then after the fact, they can go on a separate time.
I think, you know, the team of us are going to explore a number of options. We have also spoken about possibly social media takeovers or Facebook Live, and we need to figure out exactly how that could work, and if that would work for us. I think ideally, things would be under the Homes by Architects umbrella, but it depends, again, and also that way, you know, opportunities would be equitable for all firms. It wouldn't be based on your own technology and what you have available. But yeah, that's definitely something we're interested in and are actively exploring.
Just a comment, Anne, but that whole Facebook Live, I think that could be really interesting and fun and interactive for people who are, you know, that could draw more people, you know, as it's occurring. And I don't know, it seems to be an interesting idea for sure.
Definitely. Thank you.
One more point of clarification around the dollhouse imagery stuff. I'm a little nervous about our current homeowners and their health and all that about getting every room. I get that, but I kind of, you know, our project in particular is not a whole house. It's a remodel element. And so I'm a little worried about bringing that information forward. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk offline with you. We'll check in on it.
Okay.
You're saying even for remodel though, we would, I mean, like we didn't do the whole house. We would still need to go and get every room.
Yeah, and again, just for purposes of creating that dollhouse structure. But you know, it may be beneficial for you to talk directly with a technician at Spacecrafting who could possibly tell you more about that or run through some options for you and your clients. So I'm happy to put you in touch with those folks if that's something that you'd find helpful. And Kelly just asked a good question that I forgot to address earlier, but along with the link that we received for the 3D tour content, your architecture firm will also have rights to that tour content. So once the tour is over, you would have the ability to embed that virtual tour into your own website if you wish to do so.
Awesome.
Quick question about the virtual tour of dollhouse technology. I assume it can capture exteriors in a similar way. I know I've seen them used before, but on Vrbo and whatnot, but I've never seen them capture exterior situations. I think for a lot of us, the exterior connection to the site is probably pretty important for understanding our architecture and how we're approaching lakesides, etc. Is that something that they can capture, or how does that work per se?
Yeah, they will capture the exterior as well, and kind of they'll do these 360-degree views, so that as the viewer, you can, virtually stand in the front of the home and do a view all around, or stand in the back. So what they do is they will work with you to kind of find 3 different kind of foundation points within the property to kind of stake their camera, and then take the 3D view footage from that standpoint. And I think I may have an example of that, kind of that interior exterior experience that I can send you.
Cool, thanks, Angie.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question for Rachel. Did you have a potential sponsor in mind at the gold level?
Well, I don't know gold level, but so one of our property, the property that Christopher Strom Architects has on his tour is in White Oak, Savannah, which Megan had mentioned a lot of projects, one of them. And they have been, White Oak, Savannah especially, has been very eager to get the ball rolling and, really use this as a marketing opportunity. So I don't know what their budget is, but I think they really want to utilize this.
Good. We've worked with them before, so they're familiar with the tour, and they've been a sponsor previously as their development was sort of up and coming. So
perfect.
I'll make sure to get in touch with them.
Yeah, great. One question I had, Angie, our project is still under construction, and so we're trying to get a drone image of it at the best time possible to then get it out for marketing and things. You had mentioned in August that you will be publishing, was it the tour brochure, or were those print ads, or what? Okay. So do you know if we got it to by the beginning of August, if that would be a good time? Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the date we are targeting to have ticket sales go live, as well as have the tour program available, is August 10th.
Okay.
And I have a more detailed timeline document that I'll include in the email that I send after we conclude today.
Thank you.
Well, we're just about 7 minutes shy of 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock. If no one has any additional questions, we can certainly wrap things up. I just want to acknowledge that I'm sure that everyone will have many more questions in the coming weeks and months, and that's completely normal. We expect that, and so don't feel shy about contacting any of the 4 of us at any time to get those questions answered.
Angie, could you stay on the line afterwards? I have a couple questions just for you. So while you're here.
And I think
I have one quick question.
yeah.
Are you to start contacting us to schedule the Matterhorn visit?
Yes.
And then I imagine the projects that are already completed, we have a completed project on the tour, so we'd probably try to get in there first so that, you know, the ones that are still being worked on need to take the later slots, I would think.
Exactly. Yes. I think 8 of the 17 projects are completed, maybe 9. So it helps that so many of them are completed. We'll prioritize scheduling those first. And of course, you know, if you know your homeowners are going to be, you know, out of town on vacation for a week and they prefer that this scan be done while they're out of town, certainly contact us and let us know the information. A couple folks have already done that, and so we're usually able to accommodate that when we're doing a scheduling.
I have heard that this method is a little bit unforgiving in terms of you can't just throw the laundry basket around the corner while you're trying to record a room. So I think it's going to be more prep than a typical photo shoot day, maybe?
That very well could be, Megan. Yeah, I think the checklist that Space Crafting has shared with me and that I will share with you talks about, you know, getting in the mindset that you're putting your home on the market. And if any of us have done that before, we know what a chore it is. But I think the good thing is the camera can only capture, you know, a certain amount of space at a time. So if you do need to, you know, move that basket of laundry up to
switch around. Yeah, switch.
Looking at the beds.
Right. Yeah, and I guess that's the other benefit
Or
of the virtual tour is nobody's opening your kitchen cabinets and your bathroom cabinets. We also, you know, typically do publish the property addresses of each of our projects, and we will not be doing that this year. So if that's something your client has asked about, we won't, they won't have anybody driving by their house.
But you will publish sort of a project name, or, you know, sort of a descriptive name, as well as the city that it's in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the project name is the one you submitted on your application or submission.
Great.
All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, for taking the time to gather today. And like I said, I will be sharing the slides as well as some other documents with you. If you do want access to the recording, just let me know. I can send it to you at any time. So thank you again, and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks.